get to Beaumont. And I've been here before. My husband was here just a few weeks ago and had a great time with all of you. And I said, you know, I just got to get to Beaumont. I've got to get back to that Golden Triangle and tell the people here how much I hope to be your president, working with you for the kind of future that you deserve to have. I know there are a lot of hard-working people in Beaumont. A lot of folks who get up every day and just do the best you can. Making your family your priority, doing what you have to do to get that job done, contributing to your churches and your community. And I know how important it is that we have a president who understands it's time we put the American people first again. We need a president who will get to work for you. It's exciting for me to be back here to have this chance to visit with you because I know so well that a lot of the issues that confront our country are ones that are right here in Beaumont. You know, we got to worry about making the economy work for everybody. We've got to figure out how to get health care that's affordable for everybody. We have to work on getting off of our dependence on foreign oil and having more homegrown energy that will put Americans to work. We have to look around the world and start worrying about how we're going to repair all the relations and get back to solving problems with people. You know, on January 20th, 2009 next year, the next president is going to be sworn in. And waiting in that Oval Office are going to be a stack of problems. There's going to be the war to end in Iraq and the war to win in Afghanistan. And there's not going to be any time for on-the-job training. People are going to have to get to work and start making those tough decisions. I feel so fortunate that I've had the opportunity over the course of a lifetime to be involved in so much of what matters in our country. And as Harji said, I was there in the White House for 8 years, involved in helping to push forward America's foreign policy, going to more than 80 countries representing you, helping to bring peace to Northern Ireland and helping to solve conflicts and negotiate things like opening borders so people could get to safety. Representing our values from standing up for women's rights in Beijing to standing up against tyranny and oppression across the globe. And what I have found is that the world will breathe a sigh of relief when President Bush leaves office. Give us an opportunity to once again begin to set a new course. There's a lot of work to be done, but it's good work, and it's important work. It's the kind of work that America is best at. You know, nobody can outcompete us. Nobody can beat us. If we're organized and we're focused and we set goals and we get about the business of achieving them. So here's what I will do starting on day one. I'm going to ask the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary of Defense and my security advisors to come up immediately with a plan that can begin the safe, responsible withdrawal of our young men and women from Iraq within 60 days. I know there are a lot of veterans here in Beaumont and Orange and Port Arthur. People who served our country with distinction and honor. And you know that withdrawing troops and equipment is dangerous. So this has to be planned for. That's why I started to push the Pentagon last spring to say, wait a minute, someday we're going to leave. Let's start planning so that we are prepared to do it the right way. And they didn't want to really talk to me about that, but we're going to get ready. Because our sons and daughters have done everything they were asked to do. They have fulfilled their mission. There is no military solution. It's up to the Iraqis to decide what kind of future they want. So we're going to say to the Iraqi government, you no longer have that blank check from President Bush. Our sons and daughters have given their lives. They've been injured. We have spent hundreds of billions of dollars to give you the opportunity to chart a course of freedom and dignity. And you have to decide whether that's what you're willing to do. And as we bring our sons and daughters home, let's take care of them. Let's give our veterans the support and the services that they have earned. Something that isn't been happening. You know, I spent a lot of my time as a senator cutting through red tape and fighting the bureaucracy. You know, my friend Bill White was out here. He runs the Intrepid Foundation, which is a wonderful organization. Maybe some of you have run across the Fisher houses that have been built by military hospitals so families can be near their wounded warriors. I've worked a lot with them. And it came to my attention starting in 2003 that we weren't prepared to take care of our young men and women and their families the way they deserved. I remember when Bill called me and said that there was a young woman whose husband had just been killed in Iraq, leaving her alone with her daughter. And that knock on the door is the worst experience, people tell me. And after being informed that her husband had died, she was told that she'd get a $6,000 death benefit. She'd have to be off the base, and she could no longer have health care. It is wrong. So we changed the law, and we said that's not the way we do it in America. A $500,000 death benefit, you can stay on the base for a year, and you get your medical care. Otherwise, we're not keeping faith with those who have defended us. And you know, I thought I'd gotten over being surprised by anything the Bush administration did. I gotta tell you, I mean, for the first couple of years, I don't know about you, but I was yelling at the TV. I mean, you couldn't make up some of the stuff that was going on. And when Vice President Cheney shot that guy in the face, I thought, wait a minute. But a few months ago, I was surprised and outraged to learn that our government, the Pentagon, was going to the bedsides of wounded soldiers and asking for the signing bonuses back. They said, well, you signed up to serve the country. We gave you a $10,000, $20,000 bonus. You got wounded. You can't fulfill the terms of the contract. We want the money back. I said, wait a minute. That's not America. That's not our values. So I passed legislation through the Senate that said, no, you're not going to do that to our wounded warriors. We're going to treat them with the respect and honor that they deserve. I will be a commander-in-chief who respects our military and our military families, and who understands that we have the greatest military in the history of the world, but force should be used as a last resort, not a first resort. And that is why 30 retired generals and admirals have endorsed me, including General Wesley Clark, including 2 former chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Generals Shalikashvili and Shelton. And they have endorsed me because they believe that they would be well served if I were their commander-in-chief, taking care of our sons and daughters, giving them the support that they deserve. They also believe that we live in a dangerous world. Now, some people may not want to think about that, but as a senator from New York, I know more about that than I wish I did. You know, I know what it was like the day after 9/11, having to go to ground zero, having to work to help recover, you know, everything that could be for the city, finding health care for people, working so much to make a difference. So I know that we face real threats in the world. You never know when that phone is going to ring at 3 a.m. in the White House. And there's going to be some crisis, some problem somewhere in the world. I believe that I am ready to answer that phone and to provide the leadership that America deserves to have. A president who on day one can start to turn this economy around. You know, the economy's working well for the wealthy and the well-connected. The The rich are getting richer. The middle class is stalled. Working people are falling back. You know, during the 1990s, we had more people doing well than any time in our history. We had 22.7 million new jobs in America over 8 years. The average family saw an increase in their income $7,000. Compare that to what's happening today where the average family's lost $1,000 in income. We can get back to doing what works if we've got the right presidential leadership. We're going to change this tax code. I am tired of people on Wall Street making $50 million a year being able to pay a lower percentage of their income in taxes than a nurse or a teacher or a truck driver making $50,000 a year. I'm going to make sure that we have incentives in the tax code to create good jobs right here in Beaumont, not somewhere else, but right here. Jobs that are going to help this economy grow and raise the standard of living for people who are in the middle class, who see the price of everything else going up. And we are going to start creating new jobs by investing in clean, renewable energy so we put Americans to work. I am tired of turning to the oil-producing countries that take our money and use it against us. I'm not interested in holding hands with the Saudis. I want to hold them accountable. I want to make sure that we get some kind of better future for ourselves. And we're going to get back to fiscal responsibility, including a balanced budget and a surplus. That's what we had when George Bush became president, and it's all gone. So now we're deep, deep into debt. We borrow money from everybody. We borrow money from the Chinese to buy oil from the Saudis. Somehow that doesn't make sense to me. You know, I supported additional drilling in the Gulf because I want us to have more homegrown energy. I support more solar and wind and geothermal and biofuels and hydrogen and all of the forms of energy of the future. I'm excited by this because I think we can create at least 5 million new jobs. You know, we have a lot of sunny days here in Beaumont. We should be doing more with solar, and those are jobs you can't outsource. Those are jobs that'll be done right here, good jobs. I met a gentleman from IBEW when I walked in, and I went to a training facility in Southern California where IBEW is training people to install solar panels. They can't keep up with the demand because California has all kinds of incentives for people to do that. Well, Texas is leading in wind. Texas is leading in energy efficiency, but you don't have a president who's going to be by your side to make sure it sweeps across Texas and touches every part of this great state. And we're going to finally have universal health care. Quality, affordable health care for every single American. You know, as I've traveled across Texas, I've met so many people who don't have health care. And you know, that's not a surprise because 25% of Texans don't have health insurance. And how many of you know somebody who doesn't have health insurance? Okay. You see, I'll tell you, I was in Houston the other night, and we ran a big rally, and after it was over, I went down to shake hands, and everybody was, you know, kind of pushing forward to meet me. There's a little girl in front, about 10 years old, and she collapsed. I think it was the excitement and the heat and everything. So we brought her out, and I gave her some water, and I turned to her mother, and I said, well, you know, I think she's okay, but as a mom, you know, I'm a little concerned. Do you think you should take her and get her checked out? And the mother leaned over and whispered to me, I don't have any health insurance. I can't take her anywhere.
For my own purposes. That's why I'm doing that.
I know. If you have health insurance and you're happy with it, nothing changes. But if you don't have it, or if what you have doesn't meet your needs, we're going to open up the congressional plan. Congress has a good plan for itself and for federal employees. Over 250 private health insurance options at a lower cost than you could get through your employer or in the free market. And we're going to give you a chance to buy into that. And if it's still beyond your means, we're going to give you health care tax credits and other financial assistance, because I want every single person to have health insurance, to take care of yourself, and also to prevent us from having to pay for you when you get sick. Everybody should contribute. That's the way we do it with Social Security. That's what we do with Medicare. It's time that we do that with universal health care. And that's a big difference in this campaign between me and my opponent. He doesn't have a plan that covers everyone. I don't know who you would leave out. His plan would leave out at least 15 million people. Who's going to pick who gets left out? I don't want to leave anybody out. I know how important it is that people have access to health care, so we're going to make that a high priority. Should I become your president, we're going to work until we get it done and provide it to every single one of you. It's opportunity, but we need to do more with preschool and Head Start and early Head Start and pre-kindergarten to get kids prepared to be successful in school. And I will end the unfunded mandate known as No Child Left Behind. That is not working. And let's be sure we make college affordable again for every single young person. You know, we have two big problems. We've got the problem of kids not being able to afford it at all. And I've talked to a lot of parents who said they put money aside, but it's just not enough. And then people who come out of school with so much debt. So we're going to make it affordable by giving you more help in the tax system, more direct aid. We're going to take on these student loan companies that have been ripping off families and putting you in such difficult positions. And we're going to give young people a chance to do 2 years of national service, and they can earn up to $10,000 a year that they can put toward college. And for all of you who have debt, how many of you already have college debt or are still trying to pay it off? Well, I'll tell you what, here's my offer to you. If you're willing to do some years of a public service job like teaching or nursing or law enforcement, we will forgive your debt, because I think that's a good investment in the young people of America. But I want you to think about this as a hiring decision. Who would you hire for the toughest job in the world? A job that is going to be even more difficult following President Bush, where you're going to have to get in and clean house. You know, you've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. It took a Clinton to clean up after the first Bush. I think it's going to take a Clinton to clean up after the second Bush. So as you think about tomorrow, remember what Congresswoman Corinne Brown said. If you were picking a surgeon to operate on somebody in your family, you would figure out what their background was, what their experience was, what they've done in the past. Yes, as Congresswoman Brown said, you wouldn't pick Dr. Feelgood. You see, there's a big difference between speeches and solutions, between rhetoric and reality. And what I'm offering is 35 years of experience, helping to bring change to people right here in Texas. You know, right here in Texas, there are 350,000 children who get health care every month because I helped to start the Children's Health Insurance Program. And there are more than 20,000 National Guard and Reserves and their families who get access to health care because I joined forces across the aisle and passed a law over the threat of a veto from President Bush to make sure that we took care of our National Guard and Reserve members. And on issue after issue, I've been working to make a difference in your lives. Now I'm asking you to hire me to continue that work to make an even bigger difference. So let me ask you this. Who would you hire to turn the economy around and get back to supporting middle-class families? Who would you hire to have a clean, renewable energy future with millions of new good jobs? Who would you hire to have quality, affordable health care for every single American? Who would you hire to make college affordable? Who would you hire to take care of our veterans and to end the war in Iraq and bring our sons and daughters home? Who would you hire to answer the phone at 3 a.m. in the White House? If you will come out and vote tomorrow and go to the precinct conventions, I promise you I will work my heart out every single day to give you the future that you deserve. Thank you, and God bless you.